Let's talk to you about big international corporations. They've long viewed China's economic boom as an opportunity for growth. Now, Chinese companies are using that country's strong growth to attract big international executives. Let's get more from Gary Burnison. He's CEO of Korn Ferry International. It's an executive search firm based in Los Angeles. Gary joins us today from Shanghai. Gary, thank you very much indeed. What are we talking about? We're talking about people being poached from multinationals there in China itself.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what's happening. You know, with the private companies here in China, you know, they're just explosive growth, and they're absolutely looking around for talent, and the logical place is to look at MNCs. So you've got just significant increase in wages here in China because of that.
Okay, but you know, multinational corporations and what we have in terms of some of these local companies who can afford this sort of talent, there must be a cultural disconnect going from one to the other.
Well, there's clearly going to be differences. I mean, you know, the multinational corporation is going to be much more structured. Maybe it's even characterized as bureaucratic. And the private companies, like in Silicon Valley in the United States, are going to be fast-moving, very flat. And that's another attraction for many people to get into that, you know, to get into that kind of culture.
Right. When you talk about, you know, these big salaries, what are we talking about in terms of a premium over what they were receiving at their multinational previously?
Well, it could be as high as, you know, 15 to 20%, you know, here. And it's very similar to what's happening, you know, in Silicon Valley. You know, you talk about the bleak jobs growth in the United States, and it clearly is. I mean, it's a Nike swoosh. It's very long and very gradual. But in Silicon Valley, the job market's incredibly hot for skilled workers, and it is here, too, in China.
So what about these multinationals themselves? I mean, they need to retain their brain power. Are they hitting back at the moment with also upping the wages in order to retain staff?
They absolutely are, you know, and we're seeing kind of, you know, increases over this last year here in China of, you know, 10 to 15% on the part of many multinationals to try to keep that brain drain from happening.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about a brain drain, what sort of numbers are we talking about here, Gary? And do these multinationals actually feel threatened by this?
Well, sure they do. I mean, you're seeing 20, 30% turnover a year. And even our own business, you know, I'm concerned. We operate in 40 countries, and one of the biggest opportunities we have is here in China. And we are experiencing it as well, where we are losing people to privately held organizations.
I want to just talk also about, you know, I guess this breaks a few of the mysteries of working for a Chinese company as well. Can you see many more people actually now just going directly to these Chinese companies without even actually joining a multinational beforehand?
Well, I think over time that will definitely happen. The good thing about multinationals is they provide, you know, exposure to Western management styles, to operating structures, and so it's a great training ground. You know, here in China as well as in the United States, the UK, I mean, it's everywhere in the world. You know, they provide great development for young people coming out of school.
Gary, it's not just all about the money, isn't it?
Say that again?
I said it's not just about the money, the higher wages here, is it?
No, it's not about the money. I mean, if you know, look, I mean, everybody is going to think they're underpaid. You probably think you're underpaid. You know, money's important. But it's never number one. I mean, you know, people want to be developed, they want to be stimulated, they want to be part of something, they want to grow. That's what drives people across any culture. It could be in Turkey, it could be here in China. I've seen the same things in this decade in this business, for sure.
Gary, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Gary Burnison there. He's from Korn Ferry International. He's the chief executive.